Howdy goons, underlings, and minions. This is a review I unfortunately had to remake. Originally I was praising this handheld and saying it's my favorite because why wouldn't it be? It's quirky, fun, silly, the most 2000s thing I've ever seen, and probably the most portable and pocket-friendly option there is. It's also the cheapest T618 handheld available right now. On paper, this is a great handheld, but unfortunately, not everyone's RG Rotate is built the same. While the experience with mine has been great, there are multiple reviewers who have received RG Rotates with bad ghosting on the screen, and the D-pad has lots of accidental diagonal inputs. I haven't been affected by these issues, but I can't recommend a handheld like this when you can't guarantee the state you'll receive it in. Before I start, this review isn't sponsored, and I didn't receive the handheld for free. They would be very disappointed by my opinions on this if they did give it to me for free. I bought it with my own money. If you do decide to get it, there is an affiliate link in the description. While I can't recommend it now, they may fix it in the future, but you should still get it where it's cheapest or wherever it ships fastest. So shop around before you consider using my link. The gimmick, the screen. The main thing that sets the RG Rotate apart is the rotate aspect. It's a 1:1 aspect ratio, 3.5-inch screen at 720p resolution that can rotate up and away. This rotate mechanic is fun, silly, a little stupid, but man do I love it. It wakes and sleeps the device automatically, and it can be used opened or closed, which makes it great for non-gaming functions like an MP3 player or as a life counter in Magic the Gathering, which I've used it a few times for that. The mechanism is durable and it swings out with a little bit of force, so it easily swings open and closed one-handed if it's your right hand. It only works in the right hand. It's satisfying, but it's a little loud. The gimmick doesn't really add anything to the experience of the handheld. It's really just for millennials who didn't get a sidekick back in the day. But it does help to make more efficient use of the limited space on the handheld. It hides the controls and makes the handheld thinner than its closest gaming cousin, the GBA SP. Being a 1:1 screen is going to be best for GB, GBC, SNES, and NES at 8x7, Game Gear, Pico 8, Neo Geo Pocket, WonderSwan Horizontal and Vertical, Vertical Arcade, 4x3, and yeah, anything that's better on more vertical systems. 3x2 is fine, it's the same as the original hardware, but with a modern IPS screen. But we do have bigger options now. But with PSP, it's straight up a no-go. It is way too small. DS is equally rough unless you're okay with only one screen. It doesn't run 3D DS games too well, like Wizard of Oz Beyond the Yellow Brick Road won't stay a consistent 60 FPS, and if you haven't played TWOOBTYBR or 2BDR, you should. It's a JRPG set in the Wizard of Oz universe. Thankfully, it's all touch-based so you can play it with your phone just fine, but on the Rotate it's too small and you need both screens for it, and it runs poorly because of the 3D. There is plenty of 2D stuff that will be fine, but this isn't going to be your new DS. But there is another way the screen isn't great. Joey from Joey's Retro Handheld says that there's a ghosting problem. I found this out on the Pocket Air Mini, but apparently my eyes are dookie. It's not bad enough that I'm colorblind and nearsighted, but I can't see ghosting as well as others can, so unfortunately I have to rely on other people for this one. Joey says the ghosting is worse than the PAM, and after I had the ghosting pointed out on the PAM, I was able to see it on the PAM, but I can't see it on my black RG Rotate, maybe because the screen's smaller. Alongside the D-pad issue, I wonder if there is a sort of quality control issue, or maybe a variety of differently sourced components are being used that is causing some handhelds to have the problem and others not. I don't know, something's going on. Power. This is the cheapest T618 handheld available right now. It's honestly a little bit overkill. We don't need to be able to play PS2 and GameCube, even the small amount it does on this handheld, because it lacks sticks. Since it has no sticks, I can't recommend it for any stick-based system that has heavy stick use or games that really need a 32-way analog stick. You can make D-pad into analog input, but Sonic Adventure doesn't play well with an 8-way D-pad. It was made to work best with an analog stick, so you're sacrificing a lot of precision that you would get with an analog stick in favor of a D-pad. The PS1 is a pretty safe option though. I would like to see this with maybe some recessed sticks in the future, kind of like the Slide, or like circle pads on the 3DS. The PS1 is a pretty safe exception though. Only 50 games supported the sticks, and only Ape Escape had to have the sticks. Everything except Ape Escape should be fine without sticks. You can, of course, play games that work with D-pad on systems with sticks, but it may feel a little bit like square peg round hole. Instead, I'd say this extra power only exists for shaders. Save yourself the guessing, fiddling, and the disappointment, and just play PS1 and backwards. But at that point, you might be like, why not just stick with one of my Linux-based handhelds? And you are totally right to feel that. Since it only has screencasting, there isn't a good way to put video out, so you can't consoleize it and sync up a Bluetooth controller to unlock that tiny bit of PS2 and GameCube. This is a Game Boy, and that's it. So in some regards, the RG Cube XX is still better, just way less portable, and it doesn't have all the Android benefits. But then you could just get the regular RG Cube, but that's more expensive. Controls. The Rotate features pretty pretty much everything you'd expect: a D-pad, backseat buttons, bumpers, L2, R2 as bumpers, select, start, and some bonus buttons like power and sleep, a dedicated front-end launcher button, and home that brings up emulator menus, and if held, it takes you back to home. Some of the best convenience options I've seen on a handheld so far. The D-pad and other front buttons all use switch-style inputs instead of the standard rubber membrane. Technically, these are better because they're more durable and responsive with shorter input time, but they're also harder to press and pretty loud. Typically, switches tend to be pretty precise, and mine are, but Joey and many others have said that they're getting accidental inputs on their rotates. If you don't know what I mean, they're pressing right, and sometimes their character will go top right or bottom right instead. This can cause a character in a 4-way movement game to go up or down instead. It can be frustrating when you die in a game because of something wrong with the controls. I can get these false diagonals when I try to, but I have to try pretty hard to make it happen. I honestly thought that the controls were too stiff, and I was going to say it wouldn't be good for fighters since Hadokens and Tatsumakis would be hard to pull off. I guess I hit the device lottery, as I don't have ghosting nor do I have the false diagonal problem. In short, the quality of the D-pad varies from system to system, with a not insignificant portion of people reporting issues. In this scenario, you get the controls as they're intended. You'll get a pretty precise D-pad that's best for most games. The switches will be durable and last a long time with good response time. The D-pad is good sized, being larger than the original SP, and it's very close to the SP in terms of all the controls. At the best, it's a pretty good control setup, but at the worst, you'll make an eBay listing that afternoon. Hard for me to recommend that. Size. Take a GBA SP and try to imagine it slightly smaller by a couple millimeters in every dimension. It's shorter, skinnier, less wide, and with the screen out, it's still smaller, at least vertically. But because of the screen, we have more effective use of its space. There aren't any ergonomics either, it's just a brick. It's literally just a smaller SP, which one might think would be impossible because the SP was already one of the most pocket-friendly handhelds there are. This beats that size while still being a larger screen, having more controls, and a bigger D-pad. Compared to the Cube XX, it's much smaller but still has a pretty large screen. It's the second largest one I own out of the 4 that I have. It's the most pocket-friendly handheld I have next to the RG28XX, but for the features it has, like Android Sleep and Wake, the sleep wake from the screen, and Wi-Fi, it's just the best EDC option I have. Digital audio player. As a DAP, this is an okay option. Going in, I'd say if you're wanting only a music player, you're better off getting the cheaper and better options like the FiiO Snow Sky Echo Mini or the Echo Nano. They're both cheaper, better, and the Mini can be used as a DAC with a 4.4mm balanced audio jack. But if you're getting this to play games and music, it's perfectly fine. It doesn't have a headphone jack. It doesn't have a headphone jack. Well, it doesn't really need one. If anbernic put one in, it wouldn't be of good quality. Instead, you should use a USB digital audio converter or DAC, like the little white dongle from Apple. The American one is very good. Do not get the European one. The European one is 0.5 volt. The American one is 1 full American volt. God bless this country and its dongles. And it's perfectly good for the average person. It's better than whatever crap anbernic would have slapped in, is what I'm saying. If you're an audiophile, you're not using a Game Boy for music. Especially not this Game Boy, as it can't power better DACs, and the 5-hour battery life would be gone in an instant if it could power better DACs. If you wanted though, you could use a battery-powered DAC like those from FiiO. Since it's Android, it's a better DAP than Linux handhelds. It can play music with the screen off, and the screen can be used while it's still closed. Extras. It uses a 2000 mAh battery with USB-C 10-volt charging. It lasts 5 hours and charges in 1 hour. This is pretty ideal for me. It's not often I get 5 hours of uninterrupted gaming. Overnight, it consumed only 1% of its battery, and the screen makes it wake and sleep instantly, so I was able to play without slowing down my games of Magic. The Rotate also has an accelerometer that works with RetroArch, so I can use it to play WarioWare Twisted and Kirby's Tilt and Tumble. None of my other handhelds have been able to do that so far, not even the Pocket Air Mini, and it's also Android and has an accelerometer because the screen does change directions when I move it, just doesn't work with RetroArch for some reason. There's also a clock when it's closed if you care about that. There isn't a way to turn off the clock or replace it with a digital one. I can read an analog clock, I can read a regular clock, but it's been about a decade, so it takes me a second. I'd rather just have a digital one, or none, especially since I have this super cool art by Juniper Dirk that I'd rather be looking at. People were also concerned about the screen getting damaged because it's on the outside. It's a little weird to be concerned about this because you've no doubt been raw dogging your phone in your pocket this whole time. Like, what do you even have in your pockets that you're so worried about this? Diamonds? Sand? Regardless, comes with a free thick plastic screen protector. Tech2Weave mentioned that the lip on the screen that catches the screen when it's closing would rub against his fingers and it hurt. It is a problem, but it's not one that I personally had. I placed my fingers directly on the buttons and it didn't get any rubbing. If you move your fingers further back or you're supporting the screen with your fingers, you're going to get that happening, but I didn't. Overall, if you want a Game Boy or Pico 8 machine with Android and a neat little gimmick, this is a pretty good choice for plastic at 88 and metal at 108. If you can somehow guarantee that you get a good one. I love this thing, but I can't help but want a horizontal version. Maybe take another crack at the RG slide, but put it on Ozempic this time. Maybe one without the slide gimmick. We know you can get this chipset down to 88 now. I want to see a new one without the gimmick at around, like, I don't know, 78. And horizontal with a 4:3 screen. I'm begging you to make my PAM obsolete. If you're feeling really super crazy, you could do a slide where the screen slides up to reveal a second screen. Now that's something folks would go crazy for. But of course, I can't recommend you get one right now. Maybe if anbernic fixes the issues in the future, then it'd be easier for me to recommend it. But by that point, we'll be on the next thing, right? That's it though, thank you for watching, and thanks to the members on YouTube like AstroPixieYT, Linky, Willy Pete, and Dragon Fanatic. I'll see you all later. I'm going to go back to worshipping my square. I was going to say the square, but I'm the only one who got a good one, I guess. Bye!